Hello, and welcome to this introduction to payroll for music schools and facilitating the transition from 1099 contractors to W-2 employees for music teachers. In this video, we will be discussing long-term benefits for music schools of using W-2 employees, as well as the pitfalls to consider when making the transition, and finally, we will discuss different options to run payroll effectively for your music teachers. Before we dive into the differences between using 1099 contractors and W-2 employees, let's first define what these terms mean. A 1099 contractor is an independent contractor who is not considered an employee by the company they are working for. This means that the company does not withhold taxes from the contractor's pay and does not provide them with benefits such as health insurance or paid time off. On the other hand, a W-2 employee is an employee of the company and is considered a part of the company's workforce. The company is responsible for withholding taxes from the employee's pay and providing them with benefits, which could include health insurance and paid time off. Traditionally, music schools start small and grow organically. For that reason, they often find it easier and less risky to hire music teachers as contractors. Compensation is very simple. A specific hourly rate for hours taught, no paid breaks, no need to use a payroll software to calculate tax withholdings, no benefits, etc. Since the contractors are responsible for paying their own taxes and are not provided with any benefits, the school does not have to pay for these expenses. Simple, right? However, it's important to note that using 1099 contractors also comes with risks. If the Internal Revenue Service, or your state labor department, determines that a 1099 contractor is actually an employee, the school could be required to pay back taxes and hefty fines. It's important for the school to properly classify its workers as either contractors or employees to avoid any potential problems with the IRS or local state labor departments. The ABC test is a way to determine whether a worker should be classified as an employee or an independent contractor. It is used by some states in the United States to clarify the legal rights and responsibilities of workers and employers. The ABC test consists of 3 parts, or prongs, that must be met in order for a worker to be classified as an independent contractor. A. The worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of the work. B. The worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. C. The worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the work performed. If all 3 prongs of the ABC test are met, the worker can be classified as an independent contractor. If any of the prongs are not met, the worker must be classified as an employee. It's important to note that the ABC test is not used in every state and may not apply to all types of workers or industries. Some states may use different tests or criteria to determine worker classification. It's important for employers to familiarize themselves with the laws and regulations in their state to ensure that they are properly classifying their workers. It is always recommended to consult with a local labor lawyer to be sure. Now, while point A and B can sometimes be debated, in a music school, it is pretty clear-cut that a music teacher is providing a service that is the core business of the hiring entity. So in any state that uses the ABC test, such as California, for example, music teachers must be W-2 employees. It's important to note that it is now legally required in many states to classify music teachers as employees rather than contractors. This is due to state laws that aim to protect the rights of workers and ensure that they are properly classified and provided with benefits. While the classification of music teachers as contractors may still be a gray area at the federal level, it's important for music schools to consider the legal requirements in their state and ensure that they are in compliance. Failing to do so could result in legal consequences for the school. While this does make managing a music school a little more complicated and may incur more costs, using W-2 employees does provide the school with very important long-term benefits. First, stability, by providing music teachers with the security of being a W-2 employee. The school can potentially attract and retain more qualified and reliable teachers. This can lead to a more stable workforce, which is essential and beneficial for both the school and its students. Second, quality. By providing music teachers with the resources and support of being a W-2 employee, the school can potentially improve the quality of their teaching. This could include providing professional development opportunities, performance evaluations, and ongoing support for the teachers. By having music teachers as W-2 employees, the school has more control and oversight over their performance. This can allow the school to monitor the performance of its music teachers and provide feedback and support to help them improve. Third, reliability. W-2 employees are generally more reliable than contractors because they are more invested in the company and have a sense of commitment to their job. This can be beneficial for the school in terms of ensuring that music teachers are consistently showing up for work and meeting their responsibilities. And finally, control. W-2 employees can have a set and reliable schedule, whereas contractors have more freedom to come and go as they please and will often choose an occasional higher-paying gig, when given the opportunity, to the detriment of their students whose lessons will have to be canceled and rescheduled. Whether you transition your 1099 teachers to W-2 because it is legally required or because you believe it will help you provide a better service to your customers, the transition can be tricky. First, you will need to reevaluate your teacher compensation model. Why? Because your teacher's hourly rate will now have to include training and meetings time, certain breaks, potentially canceled lessons between other lessons, and availability for taking new students. Of course, you don't want to dramatically increase your cost and reduce your profit margin. Second, your teachers will need to be educated on the benefits for them and the trade-offs of losing some of their perceived freedom. You don't want to change every teacher's compensation schedule and amount overnight, without any warnings and education, and potentially upset them. Finally, you will need to use the right tools to calculate and process payroll easily and in a compliant way. There are actually plenty of benefits for a music teacher to be a W-2 employee rather than a contractor. It is important to educate them to make sure they understand those benefits. After all, these laws are meant to protect them as workers. For example, as a W-2 employee, the music teacher will be eligible for government-provided Social Security, unemployment, and disability benefits. Full-time, and sometimes also part-time W-2 employees are usually entitled to paid sick leave and paid time off, which can be a significant advantage for music teachers. Employer also covers what is required to perform work. As a W-2 employee, the employer is responsible for providing the necessary equipment and supplies required to perform the job, whereas contractors have to use their own equipment. Next, stable, predictable paycheck. As a W-2 employee, the music teacher will receive a regular paycheck every 2 weeks or twice a month, which can provide a sense of financial stability and predictability. This is in contrast to contractors, who are usually paid monthly. As a W-2 employee, it is also a lot easier to apply for things like rent, mortgages, loans, and utilities, as they have a stable, predictable income. Banks and lenders always favor W-2, as opposed to self-employed 1099 income. And finally, a lot more protections. W-2 employees have additional protections under the law, such as protection against discrimination. They are also entitled to overtime pay, paid breaks, maternity leave, sickness, bereavement, and jury duty, among others. Moreover, as an employer, you can also choose to provide more benefits and attract better talent. For example, for employees with a certain seniority or experience, or those that teach full-time and are more dedicated to your business. Those benefits could include healthcare such as medical, dental, vision, disability insurance, and 401k retirement plans. These benefits can be very valuable to them, in addition to their overall compensation package. So, as you can see, there are plenty of benefits to being an employee versus a contractor, and most music teachers do not know this. Now, regarding teacher compensation. You have to take into account that as employees, you will have to pay them for some of their breaks, potentially their availabilities between lessons, for example, canceled lessons, and their time for meetings and trainings, for example. Also, and more importantly, you will pay for what is called payroll taxes and other state and federal taxes, sick leave, worker comp, Medicare, Social Security, etc. On the other hand, teachers will pay less taxes as W-2 employees than they would have as 1099 contractors. So this means that you will need to take all of that into account and adjust how much you pay your teachers. Now, let's take a look at 1099 versus W-2 compensation examples. For example, in the state of California, a full-time teacher making $50,000 per year as a 1099 contractor will take home approximately $36,000. after paying their taxes and cost your business exactly $50,000. But if you paid the teacher the same amount as a W-2 employee, they would cost you much more, close to $60,000, and take home more after taxes too, approximately $40,000. In conclusion, since they are getting much more benefits and paying less taxes, it is worth slightly reevaluating their hourly pay rate to ensure that your costs doesn't increase significantly. Additionally, you want to make sure you are being fair to them and ensure they understand they are getting more benefits, employment protection, and paying less taxes on their income. Another useful tip. Depending on which state you operate in, you do not have to pay your teacher the same hourly rate when they are receiving training, on break, between lessons, or teaching. So for example, you could set a base rate for availabilities, canceled lessons, training and meetings for example, and a higher rate when they are actually teaching. But be careful, the base rate does need to meet federal and state minimum wage. This strategy works well and provides a fair and compliant compensation for your teachers when they are not teaching, while still providing an incentive when they are indeed teaching. Now, you may be wondering, how do I do all this? It sounds very complicated. It is not as complicated as it initially sounds. This is where using the right tools can help you streamline operating your music school, hiring and managing teachers, calculating and running payroll, and growing your business in a compliant way. In particular, Opus 1.io provides scheduling, self-enrollment and self-rescheduling, automated billing and payments, teachers' availabilities, payroll calculation, and many other capabilities that are helping hundreds of music schools operate and grow more efficiently. In addition to Opus 1.io, Vesto is a great platform for managing HR, processing payroll, and employee hiring, onboarding, benefits, and performance. With Opus 1.io, you can not only automate your students' enrollments, monthly payments, and make up scheduling, but you can also easily manage your teachers' availabilities, pay rates, and calculate payroll in just a couple of clicks. Here we have student Tom taking weekly guitar lessons with teacher Joe. And this is Joe's schedule. You can see he is available for guitar and ukulele makeups, trial, and regular lessons. Some lessons may be late canceled or canceled with enough notice, and some makeups lessons may be in his schedule as well. Students and parents can easily self-cancel some of their lessons and self-book makeups within your school makeup policy. You can easily set availability blocks per teacher with a lot of granularity on which services they are available for. For example, you can assign teacher Joe on a specific day to a specific location and room, set which services he is available for, and set a pay rate for when he is available but not teaching. You can also set breaks on his schedule and define which breaks he should be paid and at which specific rate. You can even set different rates depending if he is teaching regular lessons, makeup lessons, or trials. Maybe even different rate by instruments. Once rates are set correctly, you can calculate your payroll for all teachers, or a specific teacher at a time, and see the breakdown of all their hours and what they should be paid for. I hope this short video about teacher payroll for music school was informative. Please keep in mind that every state is different, and you should consult with a local labor lawyer to make sure you are in compliance with federal and state regulations. If you would like to save $100 to $200 on your next payroll, check out gusto.com using the link provided here and in the description. And if you would like more information about how Opus 1.io can help you operate and grow your music school more efficiently, check out our demo video at opus1.io. Thank you for watching.